hard to forget when your mind's as wicked as it is. I was sucked in, I believed you then, as much as I hate to.
What's going on, dudes and dudettes? Know it's been a while, but been a little bit busy nowadays, but now I definitely got a lot of things to cover, so I'll try to get to it as fast as I can. Hopefully this is not a 20-minute video, but let's see how we can do. So yes, the Lakers played yesterday their first game against Portland, and that was a few nice dunks. The nice picture right there of LeBron, the first couple dunks at the beginning of the game, and they do end up losing to Portland. It's not surprising just because I think they've lost their last 15 out of 17 over there up in Portland, so it's not that surprising. But they did show too that they're trying to like not play LeBron a lot, especially even down the stretch. And the starting five in the fourth quarter towards the end was a lot different than the starting five in the beginning of the game. But it seems like they're gonna go with those guys more towards the end of the season, and it looks pretty good. Obviously, trying to figure out what to do with Lonzo. He seems to be one of the guys, one of the young core that's gonna be a casualty via trade. Just don't know when that's gonna be possible. But yeah, he also made the Sports Illustrated cover, which is pretty cool also. And then in other Laker news, they did pick up the options on Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, and Lonzo Ball. So they're officially under contract for next year. I believe after next year is when they'll have to make a real commitment and contract to Brandon Ingram, if they are or not, because that's when his rookie deal is officially up. So that's pretty interesting. And other interesting news was a report, excuse me, I'm gonna cough real quick. A report from somewhere saying that both Kawhi Leonard and Jimmy Butler don't want to play with LeBron. I just don't believe that at all. It's pretty crazy that two top 10, 15 players wouldn't want to play with a guy who's still definitely top 2 or 3 in the NBA. It's just insane why that rumor is going around, and obviously people are just saying that because they want to make a trade with the Lakers, but Lakers are going to play it smart, so they don't have to give up a lot of these guys. But I think going far as like Lonzo Ball, I mean, seeing John Wall yesterday was looking really good for the first game, and packaging a deal with him, with Lonzo Ball, and a few draft picks, maybe KCP, and getting John Wall could be interesting. But who knows what Washington's looking to do, but that's definitely my opinion.
I could feel it seeping out of your wicked olive skin. I'm still listening to our men singers record, except song 5 off of it. I hope he misses you.
So some very tough USC recruiting news for the class next year coming in. The top guy I wanted for USC, Steele, the defensive back from St. John Bosco here in California, has decided to decommit. He put out like a long letter yesterday on his social media saying that he still has a lot of love for USC, but after reading through all of it, it kind of seems like he doesn't want to be recruited by USC or consider them as a school he's going to commit to anymore. And I just have a feeling, because I heard in a recent interview he was talking about Florida and how Florida was his #1 team when growing up. So I'm not going to be surprised when he commits to Florida, whether it's soon or in December when you can sign early. So it's not going to be all that surprising, but it sucks. But it does leave a spot open for another player that they're looking at for next year. So hopefully it's a good enough player. So we'll see how that goes. And they're wondering about USC's offense. Why is it so inconsistent at the moment? But like I've been saying, it is the assistant coach or offensive coordinator, T. Martin. I believe he's just running all these random plays, and for some reason they're not doing a lot of stuff to do with Sam Darnold, with a player in JT Daniels who I think is just as good or can be just as good eventually. So I don't know why they're just not trying to run a lot of the same things. It's pretty frustrating, and that's why even in the last game they rushed like 30 plus times, but yet I don't even think they reached over 40 or 50 yards the entire game, which is pretty surprising even against the Colorado defensive line. And then also there's news that the NFL is saying that they're worried about the Chargers being in LA since they don't have a lot of fans coming to their games, and there's more of the opposing fans than the LA Charger fans at the home games. But then the news came out the other day too that their lease at the new stadium with the Rams that they're sharing with, when it's finally up, it's gonna be for like 20 plus years. So I mean, they're not gonna be going anywhere anytime soon. So I don't know why anybody was worried, or I'm pretty sure that's why Goodell said he wasn't worried at all either, because he just knew that the lease news hadn't come out for some reason, or people forgot. And yeah, people, Chargers are here to stay, money-wise especially.
This is just like I do. You know it's no good for you. You know he's no good for you. And I'm trying to let this go. You're shaking, let it show. You know it's no good for you. You know he's no good for you. And darling, tell me, where did your heart go? 'Cause I sure as hell know.
So yes, according to that FBI probe about college basketball, that the freshman star phenom right now that's at Duke, Zion Williamson, that apparently, I don't know if it was him or his family that was asking for money and housing to wherever other colleges that he was going to go to. Because I believe Kansas and other stuff, like those were the people that were more in trouble, because those were the teams he was asking, but it wasn't Duke. But he's on Duke's team, so I guess if they decide to do something, he still might get suspended. But it's kind of like, why he's not with that team that he was talking with to doing all that stuff, because Duke obviously isn't going to do any of that crap or offer any of that crap, because they never had to be relevant and be consistently in the tournament and all that stuff competing. Because if they even got one, maybe two of those guys a year that were 4 or 5 star high caliber guys, they still did really well. And at times won too. I mean, they've only won once when they've had more than 3 guys straight that they got that were 5 stars on their team. So it's been a while since they won that championship, but you know, we'll see how that goes. Should be interesting. And then Jason Tatum and RJ Barrett, one ex-Duke, one now Duke players, shared the Slam magazine cover, their first issue, I believe, this year, which is pretty cool for the basketball season. It's awesome to see that. I mean, at times Jason Tatum looked like he could have been that player in high school, like the #1 player, but there's always all these other players that were out there that they said were much better. And then even at Duke, he kind of struggled a bit and didn't really show his full potential. And I believe he was injured at times, but then, you know, once he got to the NBA, even I had him as like a 4th option for the Lakers to draft at number 2, but you know, I always put the point guards like a De'Aaron Fox or Alonzo Ball in front, because that's all they kept saying they were looking for was point guards. But in the back of my head, I'm like, yeah, of course I like Jason Tatum. He's a Duke guy. He's obviously going to be pretty good in the NBA, but I don't think anybody knew he was going to be this great and probably going to be an all-star the next 10 plus years, and looks to be like the #1 player on the Boston Celtics team, even though how many people still love Kyrie Irving. But I just think he's going to be the main dude up there. And then there's also like that Quinn Cook, the only Golden State Warrior I'm celebrating getting his ring, because he was an ex-Duke player and last helped us win that national championship in 2015. So congrats to him, but no one else on that team. And then also there was like that compilation of the pictures of all the Duke players that are in the NBA now, and all the USC players, or at least most of them, that are starting and playing the NBA now. So congrats to all those guys. Good luck to all of them, and hopefully you guys stay healthy out there.
I see it in your cloudy eyes. You're desperate and hopeless tonight. Before it all comes crashing in, I'll still be near the end. Too late, it's too late, you've been replaced.
There are some of the stats of the top USC NFL players that did really well this last weekend. Of course, Juju Smith-Schuster's on there. Robert Woods, again, was on there. Another wide receiver out of USC. And they put up Sam Darnold because he did have an okay game, and they got the W against the Colts. But with their field goal kicker getting the franchise record of, like, I believe it was 7 field goals, it's just obvious how much better his stats probably could have been if they were able to actually get the touchdowns. And who knows what that score would have been if they were able to even get like half of those. But congrats to them. Hopefully you guys keep continuing to make that list and continue to produce. Then also the Anaheim Ducks re-signed Nick Ritchie to a 3-year deal. So he's been on the team for a bit, so good to have him still there. He's been one of the more consistent guys. And then they signed a 1-year deal with the defensive guy, Jake Dotchin, I believe his name is. Don't know how much he's going to play. I know they want more help on the defensive side, but I don't think he's probably going to be the answer. But good to have enough bodies right there. It's always good to have. And then also the other day, the Ducks did beat the New York Islanders 4-1. Good to see that they beat up on one of the lower teams in the NHL, because it always seems like they were fighting against these lower guys and barely beating them last year, but at least they're dominating, which is a good sign, and hopefully they can continue it the rest of the season.
I'm numb to your sadness and teary face. Back in a house where I sleep on the couch. It's damage you cause, there's nothing to talk about. Give it up, you're stuck with your words and false hope. Let it go, you'll never know what you have done. I swear I mean it when I say it's been 6 months now. It's hard not to think about my broken hands and how you left them.
So RJ Barrett and Cam Reddish, the freshman guys for Duke, they made the watch list, I believe, for the shooting guards and the small forward. It's pretty cool. I'm pretty sure if the draft was today, they'd be top 5 picks. So hopefully that's a good sign, and pretty sure Zion Williamson will be right there too. Pretty high too, top 10 picks. So there's a lot of pressure on these guys to win. Then Beanie Boatwright also made the list for his position, the power forward for USC. So congrats to him. I know he had that devastating injury last year, but hopefully he could come back and help produce this year. They have a pretty interesting team with him healthy. Then also like guys like Porter Gustin, Cam Smith, Chris Brown, and Amon-Ra St. Brown for USC all made the first half of like all-American teams or all Pac-12 teams. I didn't know they did this before, but I guess they're doing it now. And it's cool that at least Porter Gustin got his name some recognition for what he's done so far for USC, but obviously he's not going to be there, I don't think, at least first team wise, because he is out for the rest of the season, so no way for him to get any more stats, which I'm pretty sure that's what that stuff is based on. Then also we had the women's soccer team beating Oregon State 5-0. So that's pretty great to see how dominant they are. And then the women's volleyball team went up to Washington and beat them 3-1 games, I believe. It's pretty cool. They always struggle against Washington, I believe. They've only won 1 game there in the past like 5 to 10 years or something like that. It's some crazy stat. So congrats to them. Hopefully they can continue it. I'm pretty sure they're at Washington State tonight. So good luck to them. Good luck to everybody else. And thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Really windy today. Make sure you wear your chapstick. Be safe. Don't drive really tall cars. Good thing I'm not doing that today, but I will be tomorrow. So hopefully it's not that crazy tomorrow, weather-wise. And like I said, thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your day.